From the CC and JT Amateur Hour, CC,
JT,
and we're here for another Frozen podcast. We're broadcasting live from the frozen tundra of Green Bay, Wisconsin, though we're a little bit south of that. We're actually in Carson City,
the frozen
Nevada.
tundra from Tundra to Tiara.
Yeah, that was a good tie-in. Nicely done, nicely done. It's the last Sunday in October 29th, 2023.
Yes. Here in Carson City, it is Nevada Day weekend. This is the third day of my 3-day weekend, which I've been really enjoying. Yay.
Yay. And just to very quickly explain for those of you that are not in Nevada, Nevada celebrates its statehood. We came into the Union in 1864 when Abraham Lincoln thought he needed as many states as possible to get reelected. Turned out it wasn't really necessary, but and it was kind of shady that we actually became a state because it was so quickly, but we don't talk about that. We just talk about the fact that, we're a state.
We didn't have the population or anything that we needed, and after that, because of the mining and how it played out, we lost population. So technically, we should never have achieved statehood when we did, but here we are, 150, almost 160 years later now. Actually, next year,
160 years. Yeah, so, and before you start thinking, getting devious thoughts, no Nevada, no Las Vegas.
It's true. No Hoover
Okay,
Dam.
so we have an interesting podcast today, and it's going to be a lot of technical stuff today for the independent writer. So if you are here to listen to about anything going on in our lives this week was really dealing with most of the technical aspect of being an independent writer.
Yes.
Not the money, not the marketing, though it sort of kind of leads into marketing.
It does, yes.
But just a lot of technical stuff. So if you're here, as they say, on the plane, if you're on the plane, this plane is going to Milwaukee. If you are thinking that you're going to Miami, you're on the wrong plane. I have no idea where that came
I have
from.
no idea.
Okay.
I've never been on a plane where they've said that.
Okay. Anyway, so what we're talking about today is formatting the book. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about at length we're going to talk about formatting it for both for the e-edition and through the hard copy edition, which we've done. And Cece's going to talk about her experiences formatting from Tundra to Tiara.
Yes.
And I'm going to talk about my experiences using some formatting software that we wish we had 2 weeks ago.
Very much so. Sometimes you're putting the cart before the horse, and I think we did that in a big way. But that's okay because it is a lesson. And the portion of this project that I'm talking about in formatting from Tundra to Tiara is that I used Word. And Word is something that people use to format because you do have to create a PDF version of the book to go up. We're doing this specifically, or I am doing this specifically for Kindle. So it's KDP. We already had our ebook out. We released that earlier this year. And that's also a PDF format, but it's formatted differently than a hard, this version of a book. Mm-hmm. You have to make sure that the margins alternate so that when you have your spine, you're not having text bleed into the spine area. So the challenge with Word, and I was using the template provided on the Kindle site, which, that was great. It helped a lot, but there are still challenges in doing it that way because when you start adding your content and futzing around with your content, it shifts the margins, it shifts the pages, trying to get the headers and footers and everything to match up or not have page numbers on your front matter. It takes forever. So I spent basically 6 or 7 hours, I think, on Saturday reformatting the book because my first formatting job was serviceable. I mean, for a first formatted, edition of a book, I think I didn't do too badly. Mm-hmm. We wanted to fix the cover a little bit because the edges, the image didn't quite match the edges and all that good stuff. The spine coloring wasn't quite right. So I did go in there, changed the font, changed the spacing and things like that, and ended up with a book that's 200 pages shorter. So in order to get the cover...
Okay, and I'm sorry, just very quickly here. So the first draft of this has how many pages? It has
500... let's see, we ended up with 513 pages in the first go round of this.
And then let's just hold it up one more time.
The thickness is it's pretty. I mean, there are books that are this size, but usually they have a lot more text in them. And this turned out almost looking like a large print version, even though the typeface isn't that big. It's just the spacing in between.
And how many is the new book?
The new book is around 300 pages.
Around 300 pages.
Yes.
So if we just leave this real quick, and that's about 300 pages
Yeah,
there.
so it's...
So is it going to be the same size this way?
Yes, it's a 5x8 trade paperback.
So this is something basically about the size of something you'll pick up at Walmart.
Yes. And it does reduce the price of the book, because we were talking about initially this book would have cost $12.99 for us to get any royalties at all, because if you sell it for the price that Amazon sells it to you, basically for your author copies, you're not going to make any money whatsoever. So in order to make it, it would be less than $10 now. It will be thinner, so it will be less bulky, less heavy. I think the cover will be improved, and the interior matter should look more normal. So this would have been a serviceable copy, but we were trying to make it better. We were trying to make it look more professional, and using Word and trying to get that to work properly has been a challenge. And like I said, it took 6 to 7 hours on Saturday, most of my day, and boy, was I wasted when I was done. I think we do have another proof on the way, so we'll maybe next weekend. It's supposed to come this week. We can talk about the differences. We can show the differences and how it turned out. And
we should also point out that we're not hung up on the price yet. We don't know what we're going to be doing with the price. We obviously want to make a little bit of money for our efforts, so we may keep the $12.99. Because again, if you go to Walmart, you could do a quick scan. You'll see that's generally pretty much ballpark. So it's something that the buyer will be interested in. Like I said, we do want to make a little bit of money here, though candidly, we're not expecting a lot. We should also talk very quickly about, before we segue. I'm sorry, did you want to throw any black holes or any minefields that folks should absolutely avoid, other than not use Word? Yeah. Well, you can use Word if you are very good at using Word for this sort of thing. I think my issue was that I'm used to using Word as a work-related, you type up letters and you can do mail merges and things like that. I've never used it for book formatting. A lot of people use InDesign, which is an Adobe product, and Adobe is expensive, and we've had some challenges with that. So we're not doing Adobe right now, and JT's part of this discussion will explain what we've chosen to do. But for the Word part, I think if you are fairly fluent in Word, you may be able to work through some of these challenges, but I've seen that a lot of other authors have had issues with Word. They will try other things like Adobe InDesign. Also, I used Publisher for the cover, and since we are doing this, this is our first time, this is the ebook cover. So it was a 5x8 image that I just created a wrap around and did that in Publisher, which is also a Microsoft product. So this was the image. This is the image on the ebook. So then I found another stock image that I used just kind of as a pale imitation of the front image. And there is a way on Kindle, when you're creating a book cover, I could have just taken this front cover and then had this be a solid color on the back. I didn't like that look. It looked kind of tacky. So I decided to try to play around with it in our software before uploading it. And that turned into a challenge because I was getting all kinds of error messages that the spine was not fitting where it was supposed to be. So after creating 3 separate covers, I went back to my original cover and I just reduced the size of the spine and just increased the size of this image. So that turned out to be a little bit of a challenge, but I do use Publisher as a design tool much more than I did with Word. So that wasn't quite as much of a sticking point. It was just figuring out why the upload wasn't going properly. So challenges when you're first learning how to do these things. Once you've got it under your belt, then it becomes much easier. But we'll compare probably these 2 versions next weekend. Okay. Any other minefields you need to be worried about? Any other quirks that that you had to learn to work around? No, I think it's pretty straightforward actually for Kindle. We haven't tried any other platforms yet, but the KDP upload process, once you have a PDF that you feel comfortable with, the file, as long as there are no errors in it, uploaded properly,
I did get one error message saying that not all of the fonts were embedded, but it had, I guess it corrected that automatically. And then, like I said, with uploading the book cover, which was also a PDF, it gives you a template of how your book cover is supposed to look once it's done. And it was not fitting properly into those parameters. So those were the biggest minefields, obviously writing the book in the first place, having enough content.
Just the technical stuff
the
right now.
technical stuff. When you're writing it, you might want to think ahead about how you're going to be formatting these things so that you have an idea of how your text is going to fit into your book. It's not going to really change your writing process, but it's good to think about the fact that, this story that you're writing that you want to share with the world, you're going to have to try to figure out how to fit it into something that you can put out there.
Yeah, and not to sound like a grumpy old man, but when I published my first book on KDP, like over 10 years ago.
It's been a while.
You might remember getting it formatted. Everything was a very manual, very laborious process. Very pull out the hair kind of it. And what it is today versus what it is, 10 something years ago is just a world of difference.
It's very much better. As I said, there is a template on there that you can use for both the cover process and for the formatting the interior process. I recommend you can play around with it. If you are comfortable with Word, you may be able to use it with no problems. I never did get the headers to work properly, so we just skipped headers in this version. And that's something that we hope to change in the future, but we probably will not be using Word to format our books in the future.
Yeah, and that's where I come in. So if you have any questions about formatting for KDP using Word, then obviously CC has been there, done that, or done that, been there, done that. So if you want to reach out to us and ask questions, we're more than happy to help out there. So CC did some research, mostly because she was just
frustrated with the formatting process,
and found a software package. And before we dive into that, we need to talk about the reality here, because the three things that we've talked about so far, Microsoft Word Microsoft Publisher,
yes,
and Adobe InDesign are not cheap. And I read something, on the internet, and I'm just going to paraphrase. It's like you're going to spend $500 to make $5, and sometimes that's how that's how it is. Sometimes with an independent, self-published writer, we keep spending money, we keep nickel and diming ourselves, and here we are.
Right.
And it's almost kind of unavoidable, because you need these tools. The professional writer needs these tools, not only to come up with a product, but something that a publishing company, not necessarily KDP, but any publishing company also has. So you have a common software tool between the two. And so you find yourself spending money here, spending money there, and it starts to add up. And what did we do this week? We spent more money.
Well, I will say, I do want to say that, like you were talking about early in this process, stuff like Adobe and Microsoft, those types of programs, you would pay a one-time, I'm buying this version, you would download it to your computer, and that was it. Those are now both subscription services where we're paying for Office 365. We gave up Adobe because it wasn't working out for what we wanted to do. So in the past, that was more of a static, one-time pay this fee and you have this product. Whereas now you're getting the constant updates. They keep changing how you interact with the tool, which frustrates the heck out of me because, like I said, I do this at work, and every time I turn around, they've moved something, like where is this button this week type of situation. So I miss the old, here we go, grandma ranting.
Well, I did mine, your turn.
I miss the old version where you just go out and you bought the little package and you put the CD in, or, the disc or whatever in your computer and downloaded it. But now everything has to be online in the cloud, and there are advantages to that, but that increases the cost because you're paying a monthly or an annual subscription fee. So that is another one of our frustrations.
So what CC did is she went out and said, hey, so what are some alternatives out there? And she found, I don't know if it's really to call it an industry standard because we've only been using it for like 24 hours.
But several people did recommend it, and that's why we went kind of down a rabbit hole of research and to see if it was going to be a usable product for us. And
right up front, I'm just going to say that it's $150. So I'm just going to get that out of the way. There's a 30-day free trial. But after using it yesterday, and this is our testimony only, after using it yesterday, we're going to go ahead and buy this thing because you have to pay the $150 up front.
Yes.
You can get a
It's
refund.
a money back guarantee.
You can get a refund within 30 days. But we're going to go ahead and stick with it because what this application is called Atticus.
Yes.
Just like Atticus Finch, but it's called Atticus. And what it is a writing slash formatting tool. So basically, it for the writing, it's basically just like any low cost word processor. That's not why you're spending $150. No. For me, I do all my drafting in Google Docs, which is, just there. So I do all my drafting in Google Docs. I can go anywhere in the world. And also, Atticus also has a central server thing, so it saves it up on the server so you don't have to. So you can also, as long as it's on your computer, you can roam around. But I'm used to Google Docs when drafting. So I do my low-level drafting, and then I transfer to Word, blah, 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 blah. And so it has
You should mention, though, the reason you transfer it to Word is
because it's
for the editors, right?
Yeah, for the editors, because then
they prefer doc format.
They prefer, and that's something else that also Word is also common is for the editing process. That's Google Docs does not yet for some editors meet that. You have to do Word because Word has the extensive editing module in it, which allows you to track changes, highlight changes, add comments, etc., etc. Google Docs does that too, but Word is still
more people use Word than
more people use Words. So anyway, back to Atticus, which has a fairly basic word processor. I thought it was okay. It doesn't do everything that I want. It certainly doesn't do everything that I like in Google Docs. Fine. What I really, really liked about it, and this is where it's worth your search, is the second tab. And it's the formatting, and it allows you to, I'll just talk about the export, but I'll talk about the formatting next, but I'm going to talk about the export. It allows you to export your product straight to a PDF, a hard copy PDF.
Yes.
And it has the edges.
Yes, it's got the alternating margins so that you have your gutter space for the spine. So that way when your book is bound, your pages, you have that space where the glue goes, basically, so that you don't have your text bleeding into that section. And
it has the ability to export to an ebook, to all the flavors of the ebook.
EPUB.
EPUBs, including Nook, if that's your flavor. And it, of course, Kindle.
Yes.
It is Kindle. But one thing that coffee. One thing that I really did like is the fact that it allows me to it comes with preloaded templates, and I'm just going to say it's got more than a dozen preloaded templates, but it allowed me to modify those templates. And so what I've got is already got a template that I like, that I've modified it. Ironically, the template I started with is called Finch, which the program, this is so cute.
Obviously.
I didn't even catch it until she caught it. But the default template is called Finch in Atticus.
Yes.
Atticus Finch. That was so cute. But anyway, so
we should say, in case you don't get the reference, that is a character from the book To Kill a Mockingbird. So,
great book.
Yes, obviously JT loves this book. So I thought, and I'm surprised you didn't catch the Finch thing, because I thought it was so adorable. I saw Finch and I was like, wait, Atticus Finch?
Yeah. So what I've done is I've already modified the Finch template, and it allows me to save my modifications. So if I want to use that, for example, across several books in a series, at least the look and the feel to the reader will be the same.
Right.
So, and that's really kind of a nitnoy, because for me, when I get into a book, the look and the feel doesn't really matter as much as the content of the words. But for some people, it does matter.
You say that, but if something was formatted very badly, it would throw you off. And I've noticed, we all end up having typos, no matter how many times you get it edited and proofread and everything. Typos just they kind of grow in there during the publication process. I don't know what happens, but I am the kind of person, I have done proofreading on a somewhat professional level, and boy, do those things take me out of the story. I think typesetting can be the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If I was doing research in reformatting this book and looking at the typefaces that are used specifically for romance novels, the typefaces that are used specifically for science fiction novels, so there are different fonts that are used for actually different genres. And that was something that I didn't know before this process, because I thought, oh, a book is a book is a book, everything looks pretty similar. But those are the kinds of things, and this, I'm guessing, has different fonts.
Oh yeah,
based
absolutely.
on these templates.
Yeah, and they do have the various fonts for the various genres, so
Right.
you can pick out the romantic fonts and the sci-fi fonts and things like that. But I have to say that looking at this application and showing it to CC, we were kind of impressed with the level of detail that went into the format side of the application, because you can pretty much format everything. The headers, the footers, the chapter headers, the pages, just you embed images, etc., etc., etc. So just from one day, I'm kind of a fanboy of this Atticus application, so we're going to go ahead and buy it. And like the book that we're talking about, I'm going to spend the week working with it. And next week I'll tell you if I remember. Let's try to remember. We'll talk about Atticus again next week.
Yeah.
What I'm using it for, just to give you all a heads up, is the two Tucci books, Love and Death on I-80 West and Starting Over in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Okay. I only wrote those books.
How many books have you published?
Oh, God, maybe 10, I guess.
Yeah, it's easy to lose track.
So what I'm doing is I'm combining those into the Chronicles, the Tucci Chronicles. I'm going to get those posted up there probably in pretty short order. So I'm going to start the small level marketing, not a big level marketing, and but I'm going to offer it both in Kindle and all the other EPUBs that I can, and a hard copy. Just as an experiment, just to play around, to get it, and, get it up there and have some fun with it. Now, if I'd been smart, I would have actually done Sheriff, which is a smaller book and probably easier to work with. But I figured, what the hell?
Well, and you are working on the third Sheriff book, so if you wanted to do a compilation, you want to wait on that one anyway.
Yeah, but, and we should probably talk about Nano here in a few minutes, but.
Yes.
I will put the link to the Atticus app the Atticus app in this blog post, so y'all can have a look at it for yourself. Just like I said, if you're interested in it, you're going to have to pay the money up front and then ask for a refund. But if you do any kind of extensive e-formatting, it is so much easier. And as a matter of fact, what I may do this week, just so we can do a compare and contrast, what I may do is I may ask CC for the doc she used for Tundra Tiara and copy it into Atticus and see if we can improve, if it needs improvement. Right now, I don't think it needs improvement, but as you pointed out, it doesn't have headers and footers. So,
well, it does have page numbers. I managed to get the page numbers done. I just didn't get the header. And, I don't know if that's a big deal, because if you're reading the book, are you looking at the header to remember what you're reading? Probably not.
Yeah.
If you are, then maybe the story isn't as engaging as it should be. But I could definitely, basically it was the one you sent me that we put up as an ebook, and you can just import that in and play with it. But
well, right now I'm going to finish the Tucci stuff, and then I might do that and just give it to you and have you have a look at it. So, we've talked about formattings through Word, formatting images through Publisher. We've talked about the Atticus app, and now we're just going to briefly talk about what's going to happen on Wednesday.
Wednesday is November 1st, because
Nanowrimo.
today, I don't think we said the date. Today is October 29th, 2023. So starting Wednesday, it is National Novel Writing Month.
Yeah, here we go. And so for my project is, as Cece said, and we've said in previous casts, is I'm going to be doing the third book of the Sheriff series, which has been, quote unquote, my most successful one. It's the one that's gotten the most reviews and visibility. It's the third book, and I've sent some sample chapters to CC, and it's gotten her interest.
Well, I will say I haven't read those books for a while, obviously, because other things have been going on, but I felt like I was pulled right back into the story. The characters came right back to my mind. It was very much like it was a continuation of what had been written before, and I think that's probably one of the reasons that these books have been so popular. I think actually there are two reasons. One is just calling it the sheriff in Nevada. I think people are fascinated with the West and Nevada, especially because of the wide open spaces. But the writing is really well done. The characters are interesting. The characters are relatable. So I think you're off to a good start so far.
Objectively speaking.
Objectively. I'm not the only one. Of course, a lot of them are friends and family, but
Yeah, sometimes
I think if you are interested in reading about the West, about Nevada, check out A Sheriff in Nevada because it's worth your time.
Yeah, otherwise I'm just writing for family and friends, and I almost have none of those. So
And
it's
that
like,
kind of goes back to your quote about the you spend $500 and you make $5 because your family and friends buy your books.
oh well. This is what you would call an addiction.
Well, actually, part of the reason that we're doing the formatting tests is that we are trying to do this now in a more professional manner because JT retired 13 months ago now.
Yeah.
It's almost exactly 13 months. And I'm heading out the door here in the next few years, sooner rather than later, I hope, if this works properly. The idea is that this will be a way to bridge our retirement income and kind of bolster it back to the levels that we're making right now.
We hope.
We hope. So we're trying to take it from hobby to profession, but we don't want it to be so much of a profession that it's all encompassing. We just, we are people of a certain age, as we've mentioned pretty
obviously, but also you say we don't want to dive into it so deeply, but what did you say you were doing all day yesterday? What was I doing all day yesterday?
Well, and that's part of the, becoming more of a professional than a hobbyist is actually committing to putting in the time. And the reason we're doing it on a Saturday is because I'm working full-time during the week. So that's the time that we can work and collaborate, because you were like talking about we're colleagues during that time and we're sitting at our joint desks, which are actually back here behind us. We have our desks set up like a partner desk, and that's the worldwide headquarters. So in case you ever wondered, here you are.
Yeah, here you are. Okay, so we covered a few topics today, I think, and boy, did this half hour really fly. I didn't even realize it really flew.
Well, that's part of the reason we do this, though, because we enjoy it so much that the time does fly. Yeah. Like I said, I spent 6 or 7 hours, but I enjoyed the entire time, even though by the end of it, I was wasted. But it's not like when I'm at my day job where I'm looking at the clock going, oh my God, it's only been 5 minutes. Yeah. I would look at the clock and it's like, wow, it's 3 hours later. What just happened? So that's the difference between doing something you love and doing something just because you need to do it.
Yeah, this is just an excuse to drink coffee.
Well, this is our excuse to drink coffee.
Okay, so we shared a lot, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this out on YouTube. We're going to put this out on TikTok. We're going to put this out on our website, so it gives you full access to everything. And you can reach us through our website at www.carsonhume.com. If you have any questions or anything, please ask. Don't let this absorb your life like it's absorbing our life.
Unless you want it to.
Unless you want it to. Don't let it get you so frustrated that you're tearing out your hairs and it becomes a brick wall. Reach out. Let's build a community and let's learn together on how to do this.
Especially, I will say, I've noticed that a lot of the people that I have been using as resources and watching YouTube videos are at least 20 to 30 years younger than us. So if you are a person of a certain age and you're looking into doing this and you feel like your skills maybe are not at a level where theirs are, you can reach out to us because we're, definitely on that cusp of we're not digital natives. We were dragged kicking and screaming into this era, and we might have some insights for you based on our experience that would be a little bit different than younger authors.
Yep. Okay. Have we bored you yet? Let us know.
Actually,
give us some.
One more thing before we close this out.
So close.
No.
What?
I just want to say, we were talking about Nano, and my plan, I have been doing Spooktober with Edgar Allan Poe. I'm a little behind, but I will be catching up probably today. For November, I will be putting up brief updates about my Nano project on probably TikTok and YouTube. So if you're interested in that, you might want to follow along because I'll be doing little, the frustrations like the Wednesday, oh, hey, yay, here we go. Here's the first day. It's all clean and fresh. And, the day before Thanksgiving, you're like, oh my God, I'm not done yet. So
and all those,
stay tuned.
And all those video links are also on our website under the videos. I should change that to like social media or something like that. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
I
that's
think
it.
we're done.
That's
okay.
it.
So y'all take care of yourself, and we'll be chatting later. So from over there, CC,
And over there's JT.
y'all take care, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Happy